Hi, I'm Ilan Rubin, and right now we're going to take a deep dive into the session for my song, Room for Two. It is the second song I put out in the year 2023. It was actually recorded far before that. This was done at the same session as 24 Hour Fix down in San Diego at Signature Sound. Now, I don't really know why I held on to the song for as long as I did without putting it out, but all I can come up with is that a lot of it is fairly dissonant. And that is something that I love about this song. Perhaps at the time, it didn't really work with what I was putting out, so to speak. But I love the song, and what I really love about it is that it's a constant pendulum swing of dissonant to almost overly pretty and happy sounding. As I said, drums, bass, piano, those basic tracks done to Signature Sound, the rest done here. The song was written at this piano. Let's go ahead and take a dive in. This is Room for Two. All right. Dissonant, like I said. Let's listen to the piano. This is what started the song. Not your typical pop chords. Then we have the drums. We've got some tambourines accenting with the snare at all times. Bass. The main guitar, which has that delightful space echo sound, one of my favorite effects of all time. You would know that if you've seen any of my other videos. I can't stop using it or talking about it. But here is what the verse is doing musically. Ooh. Let's listen to this very John Deacon-like bass line that takes us into the pre-chorus. Who doesn't love that, right? As a giant Queen fan, and as somebody who thinks that John Deacon is highly underrated, I had to point that out. So, let's listen to the pre-chorus.
The feeling of losing all of my control is shipping away what's left of my soul.
Speaking of John Deacon, I see a track here which is clearly a bounce of numerous guitars down to a stereo pair called B-May guitars. Those sound like this. There you have it. Those are the B-Mays that take us into and through the chorus. But before we go into the chorus, we have a lot of backing vocals here. Let's see what we have. Okay, there's a harmony. So here we have a harmony that follows the lead. Let's see.
The feeling of losing all of my control is chipping away at what's left of my soul.
Nicely, heavily saturated vocal, which I'm always a fan of. It's one of those things that when you hear it solo, you go, ooh, that's way more distorted than I thought. Now, granted, the vocal is heavily distorted, and obviously so in the verse, but as we get into the pre-chorus, it's less distorted, at least conceivably by the ear, unless you dive into the solo tracks, and then kind of continues to clean up into the chorus. So, all of those elements take us into chorus number 1.
I'd rather be alone with you. The outside world can be so cruel. Sometimes there's only
So that is almost the pinnacle of prettiness for this song. I wouldn't even be surprised if it was pretty to the point of nausea to someone's ears, who wasn't used to that kind of prettiness, but that's okay. We're going back and forth. So we got the B-May guitars holding that upper harmonic content, but we do have a lot of oohs and backing vocals that come in. So why don't we listen to the chorus a cappella, if you wouldn't mind.
I'd rather be alone with you. The outside world can be so cruel. Sometimes there's only room for two.
So out of the pretty chorus comes this ever more dissonant reintro / guitar solo.
Only room for two.
Love it. Let's listen to the guitars just by themselves. We have this main one. Which is the highly overdriven space echo. We also have this one beneath it. Tremolo there, following the bass notes. We have these rhythm guitars. Very ugly sounding. And then we have the lead, which is doing the following. And then that takes us into verse 2. Now, if you haven't seen my live in-studio version of this song, I'm playing it all at the piano, and I had a good time reinterpreting that guitar lead for a piano solo. But we go into verse 2 now.
The common sound of outside voices is racking nerves inside my head. A simple mind with complex choices. Observe the world from in my bed. The feeling of losing all of my control is chipping away at what's left of my soul.
So the variation here comes in just before the second half of the pre-chorus. We have these backing vocals that are kind of playing a counter melody to the lead and harmony, and then complementing that, we have some piano right-hand melodic action going on. So let's solo the piano and all vocals, and you'll hear what I'm talking about.
The feeling of losing all of my control is chipping away at what's left of my soul.
And the piano kind of plays off of the vocal and then actually joins in unison at the end. But let's listen to the counter melody and harmony that's going on here.
All of my control is chipping away at what's left of my soul.
Nicely intricate in some ways. Not over the top. We'll get to that later. Chorus 2.
I'd rather be alone with you. The outside world can be so cruel. Sometimes there's only room for two. There's nothing I can do. I've tried, but
Okay, so here, as I did in Living in the Underworld, before going to the bridge, I added an extra little bit to the end of the chorus so that we felt like we were being pulled somewhere. So let's go to the end of chorus 1, and I'll show you the difference.
Sometimes there's only room for two.
So did the "There's only room for two" line, and then it went straight into the lead. Now let's hear what happens in chorus 2 going into the bridge.
Sometimes there's only room for two. There's nothing I can do. I've tried, but
So we did that. We went to a more sort of epic interlude, crashes on the chords, nice and big sounding, and then we went into this proper bridge here where it's a different piece of music.
I've tried, but I don't have any clue what to do without you. Oh.
So we go into that bridge, then we go into a nice little piano solo, which is over the progression of the chorus. But let's listen to these guitars that add to the sort of bombast of that section. They don't sound quite as big by themselves, but that's the beauty of mixing. And I can hear that I'm using the cab sim out of the orange Bax Banjitar pedal, which I love. It just has this overly saturated sound and an extremely versatile EQ that kind of just goes way over the top if you wanted to. But that's the guitar that comes in there. And if we look at what's going on track-wise in the piano solo, which, as I said, is over the same progression as the chorus, we've got tambourine, nothing new there. We've got the same guitars. We have an acoustic guitar that comes in. We have some guitar slides, and I'll elaborate on that in just a bit. And really, the piano just taking center stage. This was recorded on a Yamaha C7 at Signature, and it's a great-sounding piano, but it sounded too good for this song. It was too pristine, and it was captured too pristinely, so we really kind of added some echo and some vibe to it, if you will. Sounds like this. So that is the piano solo. Now, the addition here of these guitars, we have the acoustic just playing rhythm. Very standard. There's an obvious sort of Elton John vibe going on here. And if I can cast my mind back to when it was written, I think I was working on a cover that nobody has heard other than my wife and family. It was a gift for her, I think, 28th birthday. I did a cover of Mona Lisa's and Mad Hatters. So I was probably just in the frame of mind for these kinds of chord progressions. But these guitar slides, I heard them in my head, and then when I recorded them, I was like, they sound a little free birdie for me. So that's these. You know, not that there's anything wrong with that. It just wasn't the vibe I was going for. But they're tucked in nicely. It's doing the vocal melody, of the choruses. And that's all kind of filling out this nice, floaty, uplifting piano solo rendition of the chorus. And then we're brought back to the final chorus of the song, chorus 3.
I'd rather be alone with you. The outside world can be so cruel. I
So it's the same length as the second chorus, which takes us into the bridge. I still tack on that extension at the end because the song's got to end with a bang. But what really makes this final chorus different to the other two, or bigger, grander than the other two, are a lot of backing vocals. I'm just going to go ahead and solo all these tracks, assuming that there is stuff on them. Let's listen to the a cappella.
I'd rather be alone with you. The outside world can be so cruel. I'd rather be alone with you. The outside world can be so cruel. Sometimes there's only room for two. There's nothing I can do.
Had to summon my inner Brian Wilson for those harmonies there, but very proud of them. I'm a big fan of this song. Of course, I am biased, as I said at some point, but we end on this very grand, happy sounding chorus, and then we end on a mildly melancholy note.
Nothing I can do.
Melancholy, bittersweet, whatever you want to call it. But that is Room for Two. It's not sophisticated or complex in terms of structure. It's very, very straightforward. But sometimes when I write songs, I'm just intrigued by the initial seed of the idea, the thing that pulls me forth and makes me go, I need to finish this, and I don't really care if it's conventional or not. And not that things ever should be for the sake of it, but often when you write a song, you think, I want people to enjoy this. So you try to write things that are catchy or pleasant or cool or whatever you want to call it. I knew and I love that these verses, at least to me, there's a very ugly quality about them. And I don't mean ugly in a, that sounds like shit way. It's just, it is very dissonant. But I also like to juxtapose. I like writing heavy songs. I like writing poppy songs. I like writing ones that oscillate between the two. And this is probably the most extreme version of that in terms of anything I've ever written. The ugly and the pretty. They both complement each other because they make the other seem prettier and uglier than they actually are. So that's enough philosophy for now. That is Room for Two. Go stream it wherever you listen to your music. Enjoy it. I'll see you soon.